everyone, John Eisolt here. I serve as our family and discipleship pastor. And last week we dove into week 1 of our parenting video series called Making the Most of Summer. We talked about screen time and internet access for our kids and students, and specifically we talked about appropriate boundaries and how to set those boundaries in the context of our relationship with our kids. As we move through each week, we're going to continue to offer you inspiration and equip you with tools that you can use right now to make the most of your family time and parenting moments this summer. This week, we are diving into the 5 essential rhythms that every family needs. And those rhythms are discipleship, relationship, fun, work, and rest. These rhythms help us to focus on the important work of parenting that often slides out of focus in the midst of the daily grind. Jen Wilkin, a prominent author and speaker, says this about parenting. Parenting can put us into a fog, rendering many of us in survival mode, ready to pronounce any day in which everyone makes it to bedtime alive as a raging success. But we know in our hearts that more is required of us than survival. We cannot afford to simply make it through the day. Those survival days have a way of turning into weeks and into months and years. Before we know it, opportunities to point our children toward faith in meaningful ways have fallen to the wayside in favor of just getting by. Each of these rhythms helps us to grow the influence we have on our kids and family so we can point them towards their faith in meaningful ways. We're going to cover 2 of the 5 rhythms this week, and we're going to start with relationship and fun. Those are the 2 we're going to look at this week. Now, if you remember last week when we talked about setting limits for our kids and students on their devices, we emphasized the importance of doing so in the context of our relationships with our kids. So what does this mean, and what does this have to do with fun? Well, it means that our relationship is the foundation for how we will influence our kids and students in every way. And what does this have to do with fun? Well, everything. It has everything to do with fun. Most of us can't think of anyone we're close to without thinking of something fun that we do together, or something that makes us laugh together. Fun is like a turbo boost on the road to healthy relationships. We want to highlight a few key things to help you prepare to make the most of summer. And making the most of summer to pursue strong relationships and connect with your kids and students will help you stop time so you can connect relationally, have more fun, and future-proof your family from the next storm that may come your way. The relationship rhythm in our families builds and sustains connection with our children and our spouse. Relationship is the conduit to connection, conversation, and discipleship. It evolves over time as our kids grow through childhood and into adolescence and as they launch into adulthood. And it doesn't happen in a moment. It happens over time. Conversations, time, showing up. This is the foundation of how we will influence our kids and students. Now, I want to show you this graph behind me. So on this graph, you can see that we have 2 circles that start over here. The first says positional influence, or in this case, parental influence. The second says relational influence. And you can see that these 2 circles have lines connected to them. And these lines are headed towards an intersection of influence. And this intersection of influence is where our relational influence will become more important than our positional influence. What this means is that as we grow with our kids and students, and as they approach middle school and high school, our relationship with them is more important than just simply having influence because we are their parent. And so it means that if we are not depositing into the relationships with our kids and students, we're actually losing the opportunity to influence them. One of the most common questions and concerns that I receive from parents is a question and concern regarding the influence of their kids. And typically it has to do with the friends of their kids and students. And they're concerned about how much their kids and students are influenced by their friends. Well, this is a perfect example of this relational influence that we're talking about. And as parents, if we want to continue to have the influence that God has created us to have, relationship is how we do that. So as you move into summer, how do we build relationship with our kids and students? And as a family, what are some things that we can do? Well, here's a couple of quick ideas. First, think about spending a specific time out with one of your kids. That is, take some time individually to spend time with each of your kids one-on-one. And mom and dad can both do this. And let the kids and students pick the thing you're going to do. Maybe they want to go for a walk. Maybe they want to play a certain game. Maybe they want to go to a particular restaurant. but find a way to spend one-on-one time with each of your kids and students this summer as a way of developing deep and lasting relationships of influence. Secondly, another way to do this is to have family dinner. And this is one of those things that is not new to any of us. We know that families who eat together tend to be families who are healthier and have kids who are healthier in every sense of the word. But we also know that the pace of our lives doesn't always allow for that. Well, this summer, take a step to establish that rhythm in your family as you think about how it can impact the relationships that you have as a family. Take some time each dinner to talk about something meaningful. If you need ideas for that, you can download a list from ParentQ or from Pinterest even. And have a list of things that you talk about at dinner. Or better yet, let your kids and students come up with what that list is going to be. And lastly, as you think about how you want to develop relationships with your kids this summer, think about speaking with them directly about it. Tell them that you know that your relationship with them is very important. And tell them that your relationship with them is important to you and that you want to take some steps together to build that and to make that relationship stronger. Another way to build strong relationships of influence in our families is to have fun together. And this leads us to the next rhythm, which is a rhythm of fun. A rhythm of fun in our families helps us to recreate and literally recreate with those we love the most. Laughter, play, and adventure create and restore joy and connection. As you're making a plan for this rhythm as a family, use one of the steps from last week. Make a list, individually and together. Let your kids decide some of the things they'd like to do this summer. They might surprise you when they choose something simple like running through the sprinkler or having a family movie night. I have often told the story of how our daughter Eden named what each of us in our family are the best at. She innocently and honestly declared that I am the best at making serious faces. I meaning me, the dad. It's funny and also sobering, but probably true for many of us. We get stuck in the adult world of bills and work and stress, and a rhythm of fun rescues us from that and drives us towards connecting as a family. Relationship and fun are essential to growing our influence with our kids and students and with our spouse. Have fun together this summer and watch your relationships flourish. Here are 3 action steps that you can take right now to move this from just talking about it to actually doing it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing with the relationship and fun rhythm in your home and family and with your spouse? Number 2, make a plan. What are 1 or 2 things you can do this summer to invest in your relationship and create some fun in your family? Based on what you want to do this summer, what can you do this week to start moving toward that goal? And number 3, move into the summer, prepared to make it a summer like no other. You can make this the summer that you all look back on and say, remember that summer when? As we transition out of this week's video, I want to point you back to the website for some extra resources and a step-by-step guide to helping you make a plan to establish these rhythms in your family. You can go to our website and find the guide right there where you can find this video as well. Next week, we'll continue our journey into the 5 essential family rhythms, and we'll highlight the discipleship rhythm. This particular rhythm is the one that can seem most daunting and is often one that we feel a sense of failure about. But don't be intimidated by it. We're going to look at this important rhythm and equip you with a plan to create this rhythm for your family in a way that will take your summer to the next level. We'll see you next time.